Okay, so I got a few minutes here before I start the stream, so let's go ahead and knock the news video out. Now, while we're waiting for Minecraft to launch, I can show you some of the new features that have been covered in the last couple weeks. Let's talk about what's been going on now. I haven't done one of these news videos in 2 weeks. The plan was to start scripting the videos and releasing them on the official channel. Since that hasn't happened, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my old style of doing these, which is just talking to you as if, yeah, I'm just doing my normal thing. So big thing is Sunday Volts 2 is released. This is just a premature build, or preliminary build is a better word for it, not premature, because it kind of is, but kind of isn't. We just wanted to get it out the door quick enough so that you, the community, can start playing it, start experimenting, start toying with the versions of the code and stuff. Now, the first version, as noted in the actual description for Volts, is that we just want to get it out the door. It's going to just have ICBM in it. That's the only thing it's going to really be focusing on. Now, we did include a few different other mods. Let me go ahead and open up the first version and talk about what mods we have in here, since I can't remember them off the top of my head for some reason. Just one of those mornings. Now, we've got NEI in here, we've got InvitWeeks. Those are two standardized mods that almost every pack has, so we went ahead and included those. We grabbed Applied Energistics. I remembered that the original one had this in here and people enjoyed it, so I made sure to grab it. We are not including Mechanism or Galactic Craft. I know the original didn't have Galactic Craft, but some modified versions did. The reason why we're not including Mechanism is the mods got pretty large, and we're trying to avoid making the pack feel bloated. The goal is to try to keep it under 30 mods, keep it lightweight, keep it running well. That way you guys could literally open up your cell phone and play this game if Minecraft could actually do that. I know there's a cell phone version, but the ideal is you could grab the worst computer possible and try to play this pack, and it should run. In theory. In reality, well, Minecraft has its limitations. Now we've got ICBM in there, we've got Volts Engine, we've got AI improvements. AI improvements is going to help with performance issues with entities. And of course we've got all the single block mods, can't forget those. We've got the early version of the MFFS update. Now this one's still kind of unstable-ish. One of the biggest notable issues is that there's not recipes yet. This is being worked on. It'll be corrected in the next release here on the 31st. Other than that, that's literally it. We've got assembly line in here too, but that's, once again, it's in its infancy, and I'm slowly working up and updating it. Speaking of which, you guys can download this on this side. Right now, it's basically just got some rails and arm bots, but it's being worked on. That's actually, today's stream is going to cover that. But here, 31st actually, which will be here in 10 days, we'll be doing phase 2 release, which is going to have basic industries, which is another thing that's going to be worked on here later today and the rest of this week. A few other things. Now let me go ahead and cover this since I've lost my train of thought already. The new features. Now over the last few days I've been implementing tons of new missiles, and I'm going to be implementing tons of new missiles as I go. I'm trying to knock out as many as possible before my school semester starts back up, and then I'm back to only one real feature update a week. Let's go ahead and get this world loaded up. PotatoNet of a computer is not really enjoying OBS running in the background. That is going to be fixed here pretty soon. I found the cause of the issue with my computer slowing down. I bought the wrong kind of RAM like a couple years ago, or rather last year. So my RAM speed is 688 megahertz, and it should be like 2.2 gigahertz or something like that. So literally my RAM is dramatically slow. But focusing on the news here. So some of the new explosives have been added. I implemented the entity spawns. I still have to implement textures for these. These do work. The basic tier 1 size missile can only fire and spawn one entity on impact. I also got to implement sounds for these after all. Don't really want things to sound like explosion when they're spawning. The small will spawn 5. Does pretty good fair job. A little bit even distribution. With this, I finally implemented the slime rain. This is the first tick-based explosion that'll be implemented. A lot more are going to be coming after this. This one of the big things, the reason why I rewrote ICBM is there was no way to do stuff like this, where you could have a missile that existed in the world, and as the missile was sitting there, it would slowly do effects, as in spawn slime rain, with these little multicolored guys. I got a lot more work to do on these little dudes. Their eyes don't render for some reason. I think I messed up the textures. But other than that, I mean, that was pretty simple to get out. Now, some of the ones that are going to be implemented with this, we're going to be doing a quake missile that'll vibrate the ground and shock it. The code's already there for it. I've just been waiting for that. Anti-grab is another one of these that was just implemented. I just forgot that that is actually a ticking tile one as well. See if I can remember what the thing looks like. I went through and read some of these textures. Ah, here we go. So there's the anti-grav. This is not like the old one. I am going to be implementing a lot of different anti-gravs here. This one just propels the entity in the air at 0.1 meters a second per second. So there's just a slight acceleration up. And it works pretty good. It's got a 15-second time on it. Now, the time doesn't go up on the explosive right now. I may fix this later so you can scale the time of the explosion. Right now, the size or the stack of the explosion, so how many explosives you put in the missile, will increase the radius. Okay, the next missile is the microwave missile. If I can actually find it, and hopefully this one works because we've been having issues with the server side implementation of this. This is going to be fixed over the next few days, is getting the server implementation functional. Now, the microwave one is designed literally to knock out water, but that's not the only thing it does. It will catch entities on fire, it will shoot lightning from metal blocks nearby, and it will cook players in metal armor. So if you're wearing metal armor, you take excessive amounts of damage from microwave explosions. This is to simulate the metal getting heated by the microwave radiation, and kind of pretty much acting like a skillet. But let me get some, let's get some annoying villagers. I always hate these guys. It's the most obnoxious noises ever. Put them nearby. Now there's some slight flaws with this that we're still working out. Some occasionally you'll get a delay on how quickly stuff will be caught on fire. This has sort of been fixed. There are still more issues with it. But as you can see, it vaporized the water and it damaged all entities around here. If you were wearing metal armor nearby this, you would take from the small one somewhere around 15 points of damage from a full set of metal armor. Because every piece of metal armor adds 25% more damage to the explosion. So if the damage was like 10, you would go up to about almost 20. So it would almost instantly kill you. So keep that in mind. Future versions of the microwave missile are also going to be implementing wire damage. So if wires are nearby, it's going to energize the wire, which will shoot energy down the wire. And that'll damage electronics. It'll also damage light electronics. It'll damage items in your inventory. There's going to be a lot of implementation being applied to just these simple missiles. I think that's about it. A lot of other things. The arrow missile has been upgraded. I have fixed the arrows colliding with the ground. There is now a higher probability that they'll spawn above the block and then outwards. You still get some that are just going to stick straight into the ground because after all that's a balancing mechanic. When we implement air bursting on the missiles, then you'd be able to air burst these and get 100% effective on the fragments. Of course, the fragmentation missiles were implemented here since last time I did a news video. There's other videos showing these off, but they're pretty straightforward. I think we're just waiting for my computer to catch up at this point. In theory, which one is this explosion? Cobblestone fragment? These were working like earlier. I literally think it's my computer just acting up at this point. Yeah, because that one worked. That one didn't. So there you go. This one's the blaze one, so now all the fragments are implemented. I don't know if they're all craftable at the moment. I think they are. There will be a really complicated crafting system to come for these later, and by complicated I mean more along the lines of you can do anything with them, not so much of Greg's Deck style complicated where it takes a lot of work. Actually, if I go and find these, we'll check out the recipe. Now the recipes, yeah, they're pretty simple. It's gunpowder and that. Eventually there'll be a crafting table where you'll take a fragmentation charge and you can put any block in the game inside of it, because right now the fragmentation system supports every renderable block. If I actually pull out a TNT explosive here, and I shoot, say this, some of those fragments will actually be black wool. As you can see, that one right there, which landed, was black wool. These also stick inside the ground and will catch the ground on fire randomly. There's like a 50% chance that the particle will spawn with fire effect on it, and then there's like a 25% on impact it'll catch stuff on fire, adding a lot more diversity to your explosions. Beyond that, there has been a few bug fixes. The endothermic, if I can find it, has been upgraded. I've added piling snow to the effect. As you fire more of these, the snow pile will pile up, allowing you to kind of avalanche style bury things. Now, it's not going to be a really major effect because after all, the endothermics is designed to pretty much take energy out of the world and consume it, which is the reason why you get snow, is it's turning the water vapor in the air into snow, which is then falling to the ground. This will actually be transitioned here later into an actual particle snow effect, so you'll get a more realistic style effect. Right now it's instantaneous just to prevent issues with having to do complex code. There will be some snow missiles implemented here later that actually will avalanche bury people. I might be implementing those here in the next couple weeks just because it's Christmas coming up. But other than that, there's a lot more other things to get done out of the way first, especially basic machinery, and assembly might need a lot of work these weeks. There's been more info implemented. The translation keys are currently failing on a couple of these, but once I get the translation keys implemented, you'll be able to hover over the rockets and you'll be able to see what biome ID things are. You'll be able to see what kind of fragments things are. All the explosives now have extended info to tell you what kind of charge they are, what predicted size they will be. The fragments will tell you the exact mathematics that are used to determine the velocity, the damage. The damage is calculated off the block hardness. The harder the block you fire out of it, the faster it moves. This equation will be changed later. So the velocity equation right now is 2 plus RNG from 0 to 1. So you can get up to 3 velocity out of it. That is actually going to be modified here later to take into account how heavy the block is when it fires. So you may get a block that has a higher damage to it, but the velocity will be lower. For example, obsidian will actually move a little bit lower, but the damage equation for it will be modified too because it will start including sharpness effects. Obsidian is one of the sharpest materials known to mankind. It can literally, if used correctly, cut between the cells in a human body. So it'll be able to do extensive amounts of damage. But we'll be implementing some kind of potion effect styles to accommodate that rather than flat out increasing damage. For example, instead of it doing just like 50 damage on impact, it'll do 5 damage plus cause a bleeding effect plus cause a puncturing like lung effect. So your character will slowly suffocate and bleed out rather than just taking 5 flat points of damage. That gives you enough time that say you can apply medication to your character, bandages, or drink a health potion and recover from the effect. As you can tell, some of the other... Right now the wood and cobblestone have about the same. I didn't realize that they had the same hardness. Blaze only does 1 damage on impact, and the perks of it is that it will just catch everything on fire. And of course you got your classic arrows. But that's about it. A lot of these just have basic info. Biome IDs are now showing up kind of sort of correctly. I don't know why the names aren't there, but the stuff's there. Need to get some textures for the entities, and we've got some textures for everything else. Well, that's it. I'll have more of these videos here later. I mean, this hasn't really been news, more have been a showcase, but that's how that works. So I'll see you guys later.